First time in American history, the number of white people went down.
And white Americans will soon be a minority, and that's great.
Whites will not be the majority. I mean, it's an exciting transformation of the country. It's an exciting evolution and progress of our country.
We are going to be a white minority very, very soon.
Let's just talk about facts, okay? Globally, white people make about 11% of the world's population. That's already a minority on a global scale. Most of the world is Asian, African, South Asian, Middle Eastern, Indigenous, etc. That's just reality. So when I see people celebrate a demographic change like it's just a win over a group, I'm confused. Imagine if we were saying, oh, Asians are shrinking, that's great. And I don't think it would hit this hard if white people weren't already demonized today, and hear me out. They're saying progress requires guilt and an apology for something you never did. And we have come such a long way as a society, praise God. And a lot of people have put in real work to make things better. But when white kids grow up being told there's something wrong with them just for existing, that doesn't create understanding, that creates resentment. And that's how you push people from one side to another, towards figures like Nick Fuentes. The whole point of this was to be less dehumanization, not switching who gets it.
White people broke the earth. White people, not all of you individually, but the systems you built, the empires you enforced, the profit you prioritized over life. You broke the earth. You didn't just show up and settle. You came with guns, greed, and God. You took land that wasn't yours, spilled blood on sacred ground, and called it destiny. You clear-cut forests, enslaved people, dug holes in the earth for gold, turned the sky into a smokestack, and renamed the destruction growth. You made the land yours by force. You made water something to sell. You made civilization mean white skin, private property, and concrete. You told the world that nature was wild, that people who honored it were savages, and that domination was salvation. And when the earth cried out, when her lungs burned and her rivers turned black, you didn't stop. You invented new ways to profit from collapse. Now you want to fix it? Now you want to lead the way? No, you are not the solution. You are the crisis. But this story doesn't end with you, because the earth is not dead, not defeated. It is wounded, but it remembers. It remembers those who loved it before you fenced it off, and mined its soul. It remembers the songs sung to rivers, the hands that planted with gratitude, the fire keepers, the medicine carriers, the people who knew the earth was not a thing, but a living relative. We remember too. We remember that your empires are fragile, that your borders are fake, that your wealth is stolen, and that your time is running out. The earth can be healed, but not by white saviors, not by carbon offsets, not by policies written in boardrooms. Healing will come through justice, through land back, through reparations, through abolition, through the return of what was stolen, and the dismantling of what never should have existed. The earth isn't dying, it's remembering, and it will only heal when white power ends. Cope.
Unpopular opinion probably, but white population is dying out. Especially people with blue eyes and light hair color. I need to repopulate these people. I need to find a husband who's blonde and has blue eyes. And by the way, I don't say that people with other characteristics are bad. I know you guys are very sensitive here, you can't say anything. I'm just saying that this is my preference, and I would like to see people like this more because I think it's beautiful and they're dying out. And me, okay, I will take this mission. I will marry someone tall, blonde, with blue eyes, white. I will take this responsibility. I know you're gonna write you're racist in the comments. Fuck, explain why.
Sun kills white people, y'all. It murders them. The one thing on this planet everything thrives under kills y'all. And this is white people science. Y'all taught me this shit. Y'all told me Eskimos got slanty eyes because if you're from this area, you will adapt to this area eventually. Y'all been 1,000 years, still haven't developed melanin yet? Alien as fuck.
I do not give a fuck if white people go extinct. And the reason why is because I'm not a white supremacist. I don't think that white skin is inherently better because I'm not a fucking idiot. I get so many messages like this, like, oh my god, like, you don't care about the white man, like, white men are so oppressed, and you don't care if we go extinct. I don't care. I don't care. I've dated people of all races. That has never been a factor for me. What is a factor is the person's vibe and personality. Most of the white men that I've encountered have been incredibly repulsive, racist, or disgusting, especially in small towns. It's not important to me to marry a white man to pass on my white genes. If I choose to have children and I have children with somebody with brown or black skin, the kid will still look like me. They will all share all of my same features. So honestly, I would probably be more upset about coffee going extinct than white people. I don't give a fuck. And it's not that I don't like the color of my skin. I love the way I look. I think I'm really cutie and just, I love my life. I don't take pride in being white. There is a difference between self-love and white supremacy. I'm not a white supremacist, period.
We need to start being genuinely honest and unapologetically truthful about the white population. Making us feel like we're the majority anymore is no longer viable. We are now only 8% of the world's population, and 100 years ago we were 30 to 35% of the world's population. So only 100 years ago, nearly a third of the world's population was white, and fair enough, we were the majority, and we were made to feel like the majority, and that has positive emotions and bad emotions. Okay, we should potentially, as being such great builders of the world, we should help other races and religions and beliefs, etc., etc. However, in 2025, we are the 8%. Why are we still being made to feel sorry about everybody else? Everyone else is growing. Everyone else is having kids. Everyone else seems to have opportunity. But the white population, the birth rates are on its arse, and if they get much worse, in another 100 years we will be eradicated from this earth. I and all of my ancestors for the whole of time refuse to just be eradicated as such an important race. We have built so much of the world. We have given opportunity to so many other races across the world, and if you're still sat there in your bedroom with your green hair feeling sorry for the Windrush generation and for things that happened in the past, well, that is on you. We shouldn't feel bad in modern day history, because look around, everybody's got the same equal opportunity. Everybody has, well, actually the argument would state that there's more opportunity for other races, especially with jobs in the UK being plastered out there where white British people couldn't apply. Look around, we've all got the same life now. We've all got the same, from birth till death, we've got the same opportunity. Yet the white population still feel terrible. They still feel bad. They feel guilty for being the dominant race. Well, we're not the dominant race. Stop feeling guilty about it. We are being eradicated from Earth, whether it's on purpose or whether it's our fault because we're not having kids. I don't know. Well, I might do, but I don't know it enough to say it online. So yeah, here I am, just being unapologetically truthful. The white race is being targeted, the white race is dying out, and the white race needs to defend themselves. Not violently, but stick together, have kids, grow, give ourselves opportunity, do what the rest of the world is doing, having multiple kids and growing as a force, as a race. It's important, and it doesn't mean anything bad against other races. It just means that we all need to grow together so that we don't eradicate one of the races. Do you know what I mean?
White people did not exist before 1681. I'm going to break out my whiteboard for this one. In the 17th century, in the Maryland and Virginia British colonies, there were freed people of British and African descent living together, working together, and marrying each other. These people were equally disgruntled with the lack of land opportunities and wealth opportunities that they could have as compared to the elite. The social ladder was very hard to climb. These people became very disgruntled, resulting in Bacon's Rebellion. This was a rebellion that involved people of multiple national origins, including Briton and African, to go against the landholding elite. This posed a major threat to capitalism because the working class was united to overthrow the elite. The colonists decided the best way to conquer these individuals was to divide them. This is a divide and conquer strategy, and it worked. It's still working today in America. The colonists decided to create the labels of race to divide the working class. They said now there's white people who are going to be afforded more privileges and advantages for being white, although they were still at the bottom of that ladder. And there were going to be black people who were stripped of their rights. They weren't allowed to marry white people. They weren't allowed to testify against white people in court. They weren't allowed to have guns. This created a psychological divide and encouraged racism. So now those two groups that were once united are now two groups of people. We have the white working class and the black working class, and then of course the indentured servants and enslaved people at the bottom. Although these white people had more privileges and advantages, there's still this entire social ladder to get the same land, wealth, and opportunity as these people. But now these people are turned onto these people because they're afraid that these people will take away their opportunities. When in fact, it's these people taking away everybody's. See this today. Think about the rural white American working class. They generally are very poor people that are never going to make it to the same degree as the 1%. These people tend to be very racist and are afraid of non-white people taking their jobs. Their minds are focused on other members of the working class because they are racist and think that those people are causing the problems, when it's been these people all along. This is how capitalism is maintained, by dividing the people at the bottom, instead of thinking, maybe we shouldn't have a ladder in the first place. Maybe we should all just be on the same standing and same ability to have opportunity.
Worked diligently in that time period to change my language around how I speak about race and racialized peoples, including myself, someone who has been made to be white. That is what I say to people when they ask me what my race is. I tell them that I was made to be white in this machinery of Western empire. What this means is that before 15th century Europe, my ancestors would have had no conception of themselves as white. As a species, we have always organized, categorized, and stratified or made hierarchies out of human capacity. It's important to note that human capacity exists on a spectrum, and how we have organized or made sense of that spectrum of human capacity has changed over time. For instance, while we now consider the Greeks to be white, and I'll explain why that is in just a second, the Greeks would have never thought of themselves as white people, at least not in the conception that we have today. The use of skin color to signify the potential for human capacity would have made no sense to them. As historian Nell Irvin Painter has shown in her book Inventing White People, however, the Greeks did organize human capacity, but they organized it around geographic location and climate. The Greeks believed that those who lived in more temperate climates, surprise, surprise, like those in the Mediterranean, were far superior, had greater control over their emotions, and had a greater capacity for human governance. Those who lived in either too cold or too hot of climates had a diminished capacity for these attributes. Well, why do we now consider the Greeks to be white? And why do we consider their contributions part of the white Western canon? Well, as historian George Moza has shown in his book on race, Whiteness is a scavenger ideology, meaning it adopts anything that it finds valuable to creating a cohesive narrative about the supremacy of whiteness. So once the idea of democracy became popular after the French Revolution, we then had to tie that rise of democracy and liberal frameworks of existence and politics to a white history. So we searched and we found the Greeks, and we fit them within the canon of whiteness. You've seen this again and again in ways that don't make sense, but you didn't know how to question it or how to articulate what didn't exactly make sense. For example, the fact that we have often treated the Egyptians at times as though they are white because of their contributions of the pyramids. Whiteness is an ideology that claims superiority over any cultural product that emerges that the West finds valuable. So when the contribution of the pyramids becomes recognizably as one of the wonders of the world, whiteness has to latch on to that creation and take responsibility for it in some fashion. That is the scavenger nature of the ideology itself. It has no roots. It only takes what it wants from culture and discards the rest. And that is why colonization and imperialism are constantly working to rename things. I'm thinking particularly about the recent trend of making dot cakes as a manifestation of white culture, even though we know it's also been cortadillo in other cultures, right? Whiteness takes what it wants from cultures, turns it into a product of the West or whiteness, right? Because those things eventually become synonymous, and then pump that out to the rest of the world as though it is the manifestation of white Western superiority. The scavenger ideology of whiteness becomes attached to skin color, right? Because skin color is unmistakable, indelible, and it is the first thing we tend to notice about people. But the only thing you can really tell about a human based on skin color, hair texture, and eye color from a naturalistic sense, from a biological sense, is their relationship to the sun, right? How well they handle UV rays, how much protection their melanin provides them against things like skin color. The darker you are, the closer you evolved or your ancestry evolved to the equator, right? Skin color, hair texture, and eye color were all evolutionarily advantageous traits that helped to protect people from the sun, or in the case of those that are now considered to be white, provide more absorption of the sun's benefits, like vitamin D, for example. But it is through a system of laws, policies, and cultural production that we have associated human capacity for things like governance, the capacity for criminality, to these banal, seemingly banal features like skin color, hair texture, and eye color. The most clear-cut example of the fluid nature of race in the United States context comes from the 19th century and the migration of both Irish and Italian immigrants. When the Irish and the Italians were immigrating here en masse in the 19th century, and there was extreme competition in the labor market between Irish and Italian Catholics and the dominant white Anglo-Saxon Protestant culture in the United States, Italians and Irish were not considered to be white. However, after the two world wars, the authority of Western Europe came into question. Colonies around the world began to realize that this preaching of superiority of Western culture was nothing more than a farce. That we have gone to war twice now, the entire world, for these European conquests. And so the United States, in an interest of consolidating power within its own context, began to allow Irish and Italian immigrants to fold into whiteness as this amalgamatory category of power. The social contract was that so long as Italian immigrants and Irish immigrants dropped the more salient or more indelible features of their cultural heritage and adopted a American white Anglo-Saxon Protestant sensibility, that they would then be able to be folded into the sort of category of whiteness. They also did this by signaling to the dominant class in the United States that they were willing to fold themselves into the category of whiteness. The Irish, for example, as Noel Ignatieff has shown in How the Irish Became White, did so through denying access to Irish labor unions to black workers. This signaled to the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant dominant class that the Irish were willing in some way to challenge blackness as a signal to the dominant class that they were ready to fold into the category of whiteness. I say all this to say that the invention of race, the invention of whiteness, was created to divide people, because a divided people is a weaker people. With the dividing mechanism of race, that dramatically reduces collective bargaining power, organizing power, and has eliminated the potential for many working class victories over the last 2 centuries. And until we come to terms with the fact that race is a socially constructed modern phenomenon used as a tool to split the working class in half, we will never be able to move forward as a society.
So this is probably the most controversial video I'll ever make. It's about a topic that, depending on who you ask, is either a total racist conspiracy theory or something that's actually happening.
Isn't the end of white America, as we see the rise of Hispanics, a good thing? Proof that America is a melting pot, that anybody can succeed here, no matter the color of your skin or your religion or whatever.
What is going to hold us together when we don't have a common religion? We don't have common beliefs about right and wrong and morality as we used to. We are at war over whether or not equality means equality of rights or equality of reward.
Now, there's a lot of names for it. Some people call it the end of white America or the replacement theory, which is the idea that white populations in Western nations are being replaced on purpose through immigration, low birth rates, and corporate policies.
And white Americans will soon be a minority, and that's great.
Whites will not be the majority. I mean, it's an exciting transformation of the country. It's an exciting evolution and progress of our country.
We are going to be a white minority very, very soon. I'm okay with that.
America is going to look very different in 100 years. You're not going to be able to tell you're black, you're white, you're Hispanic, you're Puerto Rican, whatever. It's going to be very complex.
For the first time in American history, the number of white people went down.
White population is declining for the first time in history in America.
White people will not be the majority in the country anymore.
This will be the first generation ever in American history in which whites will be a minority.
You might have seen videos from far-right media, or maybe you've seen a few viral videos on TikTok about how a lot of countries used to be a certain way and how they've completely changed over time. And that has led people to, in some cases, wake up in their own country where the laws that are meant to protect them are now putting them in prison over just speaking up about them. Arguably, the best example of this is, of course, the UK, where saying something offensive on the internet can get you in jail.
You went on to say that you did not want your money going to immigrants who, quote, are kids and get priority, end quote. Although you said that you had no intention of carrying out any act of violence, there can be no doubt that you were inciting others to do so. Otherwise, why post the comment?
And that's made people worry that if we don't talk about this now, if we don't do anything about it, the U.S. will find itself in the same situation.
And it's coming so fast, within 5 or 10 years, it is going to be way out of control. We have a prime example of this. Europe. Europe is gone. And they will have to fight in the streets to get it back. And that's coming.
So today, I really want to look at this as objectively as I can, because when you take away the anger and the headlines, I think there's a very real explanation for it. And the reason I wanted to make this video is not just to prove to you that this is in fact happening, but it's also to ask a bigger question. Why is this happening? And what does it mean when the identity of a country changes? And why are some people upset while the leaders celebrate it?
And the wave still continues. It's not going to stop, nor should we want it to stop.
So let's take a look at the data and what it actually shows, the emotional reactions people are having, the incentives behind it, and at the end of this video, I'll share my own story as an immigrant and my family's experience. So with that said, let's get into it. Hi, my name is Andre Jick. Hope you're doing well. Come for the finance and stay for immigration. Now, let me first sort of explain how we got here, because we have to go back to one law that changed everything. In 1965, the United States passed something called the Immigration and Nationality Act. Some people call it the Hart-Celler Act. Now, the goal was to end an old immigration system that prioritized European immigrants over everyone else. Before 1965, the US used quotas that favored immigrants from countries like the UK and Germany, Italy, and it limited immigration from Asia, Africa, and parts of Latin America. Now, at that time, in the context of the civil rights movement, they were trying to change that. So Hart-Celler did actually three big things. First, it got rid of those quotas completely. Second, it replaced it with a system that was based mostly on something called family reunification and employment-based visas. And three, it placed a cap on immigration from the Western world for the first time.
From this day forth, those wishing to immigrate to America shall be admitted on the basis of their skills and their close relationships to those already here.
Now, here's something really important. At that time, politicians told the public that this law would not really change the demographic makeup of the United States. President Lyndon Johnson said himself that the law would not reshape America.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Furaha. If you're joining us for the first time, if this is your very first time seeing my channel, bumping into my channel, seeing my videos, seeing me as a person, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for making time to watch my video to this point. I know it has taken a lot of your time, but I really appreciate that. So please feel appreciated for doing that for me, for my channel. And if you love this kind of content, if you are intrigued, if you learned something from this and you'd like to interact with content such as this, please consider subscribing, be part of this amazing family that we have over here. You're more than welcome to join us. You're more than welcome to be part of us. Now guys, if you have subscribed, if you've been here for months, days, weeks, thank you so much. I'm always delighted to have you over here, sharing my channel with you, sharing my ideas, thoughts, all these things that we keep discussing over here. Now, if you're clueless about what we do over here, we talk about anything Black American, anything Black people, anything Black community, be it negative, positive, anything that impacts the lives of Black people in either way. We talk about that, we discuss that over here, and we are free to learn, to unlearn, to relearn things. There's a lot of information that you have that you really don't have like clear explanations for them. So that is what we do over here. If that is something that interests you, please consider subscribing, be part of us, and always feel easy to leave a comment on every video that you watch. And it doesn't have to be that you agree to what we're saying. If you don't agree, feel free. It's a free space. It's a safe space for you and your thoughts. Please share that, and we will keep interacting in the comment section. Now guys, if you have not subscribed, please, I'm reminding you again, subscribe to the channel. On today's video, we have you have watched and you have seen what this is really all about, and basically talking about the fact that Black people white people are shrinking in number. You know, their numbers are going down. And for a very long time, for example, in America, the United States of America, they have taken advantage of the fact that they have numbers. You know, they have always taken advantage of that to do anything, to implement anything, to just like run this whole system. You know, the things that they have done in America have always been backed by the fact that they have the numbers. And now the mere thought that their numbers are going down, the number of white people is going down. And that is not to mean that it's a new phenomenon. This has been true. This has been a fact for a long time, that, you know, when you're looking at the whole world, you know, when you're looking at the whole universe, white people are the minority, really. It's only in America where they are the majority, and the white nations are like, they're the majority there where they come from. But when you're looking at it from a global scale, then things automatically take a shift that now they become the minorities. Now, talking about white people becoming a minority in America is something that scares white people more than black people even have to think about. Yeah, black people are not even like concerned about that. They're not thinking that, you know, that they're waiting for that moment so hard. No, that is not the idea behind black people. They're just looking at it like, okay, it's normal, it's okay. Yeah, but white people are scared to death because that is not the kind of thing that they want. They know that once they are defeated in number, for example, by white people, by black people, sorry, they know that that will put them in a place where they're not comfortable, because they have been used to taking advantage of the fact that they have the numbers to do things, sometimes bad things, to other people, implementing things that are only good for them, workable for them. For instance, when we're talking about voting, the elections, the campaigns and whatnot, they know very well that black people do not want to go this direction. But simply because it works for them, simply because it's good for them, they go ahead and vote in the person that they want. Yeah, and that is one example of them taking advantage of the numbers. Now, they will not care about how that impacts the other people, how it affects the other people of the other races. As long as it is comfortable for them, as long as it makes them happy, they're okay to move with that. Now, that thought that someday other people will have to make decisions for them, they have been selfish, and now they know and think in their minds that when other people, for instance, black people, will now be the majority, they expect that these people are going to do exactly what they have done to them. You know, they fear that black people are going to make decisions that are good for them and against white people, because that is really what they have been doing when they were in that position. Now, you would be wondering why they're scared to death. It is because of that. They know that every evil thing they have done to black people, to immigrants, to just about anyone else, it will be done to them because they will not have the voice. They will not have the numbers to control. Their systems will be broken because you're talking about white supremacy, white privilege. Those are systems that they created for themselves, for their own good, to favor only them. And now the thought that that will be broken and then they will be treated like everyone else scares them, and they don't know what to do about it. They don't know how to even behave around that kind of a situation. And that is white people. For you, it's not news. You have known them for that for many, many years, for ages, and they don't change. They remain the same. Now, we're not talking about all white people. There are white people that are good. There are white people that are considerate. There are white people that actually fight for the rights of black people. And those are really so much appreciated. Thank you so much. If you do it in silence, if you do it without recording, just feel appreciated, because the Most High sees that, and you are blessed for being that kind of a human being in a world that seeks to make everyone evil. Yeah. So guys, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please consider doing that. If you have been part of us, thank you for always choosing to be here, giving me the much needed support of subscribing to my channel, liking the videos, leaving a comment, giving it a super thanks, giving it a thumbs up, all that. That is mad support that you keep giving me, and I appreciate each and every one of you for that. Guys, I hope that you're keeping safe from wherever you're watching me from. I hope that you're having a fantastic time. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know what time you're watching me, but I hope that you're enjoying your time and you have learned a thing or two from the videos that I have made on this day. Guys, I will see you on my next video. Bye for now.